to this joint WISTA UK and SPNl event. We're really pleased to be doing this with SPNl. For anybody who doesn't know who WISTA is, it stands for Women in Shipping and Trading Association. It's been going for over 40 odd years, and we help women to raise their profile in the shipping industry. We're also a supported networking group for women in the UK in the shipping industry, and we offer mentoring and events, and this is why we're so pleased to be doing this event today. If you were interested, if you go to wista-uk.net, you'll see all about us. And do come along to any of our events. They're open to anybody. You don't have to be a member, so feel free to come and join us for any of our events. Now it gives me pleasure to hand over to Charles, who's going to welcome you from SPNl.
Hello there, I'm Charles Scott from SPNl. I think Sue's done a very good introduction there, but so my background is I'm a naval architect, and we've got two brilliant naval architects today in the form of Anne Charlotte and Maria. So just a little bit about SPNl. That's for young shipping professionals across all sectors involved in the shipping industry. And this goes from the technical, the naval architecture side, right the way to the legal and the finance side as well. We have a broad range of networking events, and we would encourage anybody who would like to become a member to sign up. Obviously, when things return to more normality, we will be hosting more networking events whenever that might be. But I'll pass over to Monica.
Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you very much, Sue. We're delighted that we can do this jointly with everyone, because shipping is important, and young and old, women and men, everyone is welcome in this diverse industry. And I think the more we meet people, the more we realize however international we are, we all seem to have connections, and our experiences are the same across the world. But today we've tried something different, and I think this came out of Charles's idea. What I would really ask is a couple of housekeeping is to please just mute yourselves. I mean, we'll mute you, but it would be nice if you could just mute yourselves. And at the end, we will have a session for question and answers. So at that time, please do unmute, please chat, please interact with us. So this is going to be short and sweet to introduce two wonderful ladies to all of you. So we started this off with a discussion saying, how can SPNl and WISTA work together? And we decided that STEM was such an important part. And for those of you who haven't yet heard of STEM, I thought I would just clarify that it was science, technology, engineering, medicine, and mathematics. Now I'm a shipping lawyer. I do law because I can't do maths. So I have a lot of respect for engineers and mathematicians, and architects are way beyond my comprehension level. So a lot of admiration for people who are doing all of these subjects. But why are we concentrating on this? And I've been to a lot of seminars where we talk about women getting into STEM. And it is because, well, there are only 23% of women in STEM, and all the jobs, or about 142,000 in the next 2 years, will be in the STEM subjects. So we need more of us to be doing more of STEM subjects, so we are ready for the future. We are future-proofing ourselves. So that's why STEM. And then we see women in shipping, and there are 2% of women in shipping. So if you have 23% of women in STEM, and then 2% in shipping, and then if you see 23% of 2%, that's the number of women you have in STEM subjects in shipping. So you're really meeting a rare breed today. You're meeting two women who are really one in millions. So without further ado, let me introduce you to both of them. We'll start with Anne Charlotte Gear, who will talk to us about her life and how she went from being a young girl who builds things to now building slightly bigger things. Anne, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Monica. It's a pleasure to be there today. I'm going to try and as many pictures and as little words to talk you through how I got there. If I share my screen with you. I can find. Why is it not starting on the front page? That's it. So if I go back in time, I think I've always loved building things. Like I was a little girl with Legos, and I spent hours building houses in Legos. And I was also daddy's girl, and my dad mantra, which is to always fix things if they're broken, because you can't make it worse. So we've dismantled everything in the house, to, I guess, my mum's dismay, but we did everything we tried to fix ourselves. And I guess when we're about 15 or something, for my sister's 20th birthday, my parents invited us to, got us to China, and I got to Hong Kong, and I realized I saw all those big buildings, and I thought, you know what, I'd like to be building one of those huge buildings and designing them, and maybe I should be an architect. But then at the same time, my dad was a sailing instructor in the late 60s, early 70s, and he thought it would be a good idea to send me sailing. And being an architect turned into being a naval architect. Now, that's because I was 16 or 17 then, and parked it to the side for a few years. But in France, the system is such that you kind of choose to do literature studies, economics or science. So once I was in the science path, you could keep going for a few years without having to make a decision. And when I realized there were very limited number of naval architecture schools in France, because they're all very catered towards frigates and the Ministry of Defense and oil and gas. And I guess I dreamt myself at the next yacht designer. Joined an aeronautical engineering school in Paris, who had a partnership with Southampton University. So I went through 4 years of painful Airbus and Boeing discussions, and then made it to Southampton in a small crafts and yachts MSc, which is really nice. Our end of year design was an America's Cup yacht, so finally I'd made it. But it was basically the financial crisis by then, and I couldn't find a job. And I got offered a position as a research student at University College London, and the subject was damaged ships and frigates. So I was kind of back to square one of designing those frigates I thought I was going to avoid. It was really interesting, and it was a big research group between two universities, and kind of taught me a lot about how vessel works, and kind of going into deep technical studies. But after 3 years, I decided I wanted to go away from academia and actually build things for real. And that's when I joined KBR, which is one of the big EPC companies in Surrey. If the video has kind of to launch, I think that will tell you a lot more about what we're doing. The video is not launching, it happens. So this was going to show you an amazing video about the installation of the Chardonnay's platform in Baku in Azerbaijan. And we spent 3 years doing all the calculation, all the engineering. I started as basically graduate level, and I went up the ranks to be one of the lead naval architects on the project. And as a kind of reward for hard work, I got to go to Azerbaijan and to Baku in August 2017 to see the installation and finally be on the barge when the 16,000 ton topside was lowered onto the jackets. And it was really impressive, and I was kind of think, you know what, I'm not doing sailing yachts, but I'm actually building things, and I'm really enjoying this. And we were all taking pictures, even the BP was saying not to not do it. We were all doing it because we were all so proud of what we achieved and how well it worked. But then staying in that company, I guess the next step would have been designing the next one, which was going to be looking a lot like this one. So I joined Waves Group about 3 years ago now. If you look at our website, it will tell you we're doing risk mitigation, engineering and design, casualty management, and if you bring that into an everyday job, kind of try to kind of bring pictures of the different projects I've been working in the last few years, so it kind of gives you an idea of the broad scope of what a small consultancy like that is doing. I've been involved in the engineering and the procedures for the ITER project, the big fusion reactor, the International Fusion Reactor project built in south of France. The bottom two pictures, it's a salvage of a fishing vessel which took fire and floated after they used lots of water to extinguish the fire. So we had to upright it and lift it and help the lifting contractor do all the calculations. At the moment, I spend lots of time helping an installation contractor design the installation of a wind farm, which should be coming in September, October, so it's quite intense. I also do marine warranty services. So looking at cargo transportation, but it goes from small cargo, you're putting a vessel in Southampton on a container ship and you're signing and making sure that it will make it to Taiwan in one piece, to offshore wind farms where we check all the installation procedures, tidal turbines, and then what I'm also doing a lot recently is casualty investigations and working with the PNI clubs. And a lot of it is container stack collapse. So looking at the lashing, the calculation, trying to understand what happened, build a story that makes sense with all the information provided. And another side is fender damage and mooring failure. This one is and at the moment we've got one is a bit different from trying to find who's responsible and who's going to pay for the replacement fenders, because it's a terminal and it's being commissioned and they have to work together, the vessel and the terminal, for the next 22 years. We have to find what happened so it can be corrected. And so the issue doesn't happen again. So it's quite rewarding, because if we put the finger on the right problem, hopefully it will make a change and it will make a difference. So, because I went from wanting to do sailing yachts to something completely different, but in the process I've learned lots of things and I've looked at lots of different processes, and it's really interesting. There is not one straight line to where you are now, and I don't know what I'll be doing in the future. So highly recommend STEM subjects in naval architecture.
Thank you very much, Anne. Thank you very much for that. So, this mute, unmute, one must remember all the time. Anyway, thank you for that. And I love your dad's mantra, always destroy. I don't think many of us grew up in a household where we were told, you can't make it worse, so, rebuild. So that was a wonderful, I think, start to your career. I found it quite interesting about the container damage. Of course, being in a PNI club, we face a lot of that. So I will ask you more about container stacking and container damage, and what are your solutions maybe for that in the future. But before we go on to questions, I thought we'd move on to Maria. So Maria is joining us just come back from Turkey, doing her job, looking at the super on various vessels. She will tell us, of course, more about her job. So without further ado, let's go to the lady from Greece, Maria Dragmorelli. Maria, it's all yours. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Monica, and welcome everyone. I'm really, really glad to be here with all of you today. My name is Maria Dragmorelli and I am a naval architect. I have put together a few slides for you today for my journey